So kindly put it in the full screen.
With everybody's permission, can we start with the program? Principal sir, Pandit sir, all the resource person, can we start?
I will start.
Okay, sir. So I request Riza madam to take over with the webinar. Thank you.
Can you hear me, Bhushan? Can you hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Good morning and a warm welcome to all of you to this national webinar on emerging vistas in education and industry, enhancing skills and careers in quality, organized by Chikitsak Samuha's Patkar-Varde College. Our college is introducing a new postgraduate program, MSc QA, QC, RA, RD, that is Quality Assurance, Quality Control, Regulatory Affairs, and Analytical Development. This program will provide career opportunities for students in diverse fields such as food testing, food processing, petrochemicals, agricultural product testing, FDA laboratories, etc. The resource persons of today's webinar are eminent academicians and industry experts who will throw light on the vital link between academia and industry and will provide information about the program, its applications, and relevance to industry. Before the start of this webinar, we would like to give a few instructions to our participants for the smooth conduct of the webinar. Please keep your mic on mute mode and camera on off mode during the webinar. Do not click on present now, share screen, or leave meeting while the webinar is in progress. And to ask questions, please post the questions in the chat box and your queries will be answered by the resource persons. Also, please note that the link for feedback will be shared in the chat box before the end of the session and also on the Telegram groups created by the webinar after the completion of the event. Now, to begin this webinar, may I invite our principal, Dr. Shrikant Sawant, to give his introductory remarks. Sir.
Thank you. Very good morning to you all. This gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all, our distinguished speakers, participants for this national webinar on emerging vistas in education and industry, enhancing skills and careers in quality. Organized by Chikitsak Samuha's Sir Sitaram and Lady Shantabai Patkar College of Arts and Science and Patkar-Varde College of Commerce and Economics. Our college was founded by Chikitsak Samuha, an association of like-minded individuals who were keenly interested in education. The college was named after Sir Sitaram Patkar, a distinguished judge of Bombay High Court, who was knighted after his retirement, and his wife, Lady Shantabai Patkar. Sir Sitaram was deeply interested in furthering the cause of women's education and was the Vice Chancellor of SNDT University for many years. The College of Arts and Science started functioning from the academic year 1964-65 and the Commerce section from the academic year 1980-81. To provide career-based education, the college started degree-level self-finance courses from the year 2000-2001. Since then, the college has constantly upgraded the courses offered and the infrastructure required for these courses to provide students with best possible learning opportunities. In keeping up the spirits of learning and growing through criticism, we have set up high standards, working continuously towards desired goals, advanced goals. Many of our alumni hold very good position in various fields. Patkar-Varde College is a place of pride among us, the various education institutions in the western suburbs of Mumbai. Our college is reaccredited by NAC in its third cycle with A+ grade, securing 3.53 CGPA. Autonomy was conferred on the college from the academic year 2019-20. We are ISO 9001-2015 certified and recipient of Best College Award by the University of Mumbai in the year 2016-17. We are DBT Star Scheme and RUSA 2.0 awardee. Indian Education Excellence Award 2018, Berkshire Media LLC, USA. Education World, India has ranked us 45th in India and 10th in Maharashtra amongst the private autonomous colleges. I take proud privilege to welcome our distinguished speakers on this occasion. Dr. T Chandra Shekhar, Executive Director, Kusum Healthcare Private Limited. Dr. G.V. Pandit, Honorable Secretary, Chikitsak Samoha. Dr. Rajiv Desai, Head Corporate Quality Management, Lupin Limited. I also welcome Kishorji Rangnekar, our Honorable President, Sri Rajesh Desai, our Honorable Vice President, Dr. G.V. Pandit, Joint Secretary, Jayant Patki Sir, Joint Secretary, Sri Girish Amonkar, Joint Treasurer, Dr. Kiran Mangaonkar, Joint Treasurer, and all the office bearers of Chikitsak Samoha. I also welcome Dr. Mala Kharkar, CEO, and all the participants, aspiring students and participants who are aspiring for this, who are participating this seminar. This webinar focuses on importance of quality control, quality assurance, regulatory affairs, analytical development, instrumentation, and process involved. This will also reveal philosophy behind MSc, QC, QA, RA, AD, and advantage of this career-based and need-based and career-oriented program. The webinar is meant for educators, aspiring students, those who wish to make the career. I'm quite sure that our distinguished speaker will throw light on the emerging vistas in education industry and in enhancing skills and in career in quality. We'll be enriched with their knowledge and will have insight in the emerging trends and careers in the quality circle, in the quality field, in the quality area. Once again, I would like to welcome all the dignitaries and our distinguished speaker and participant. Thank you very much.
Teresa ma'am, you are on mute.
Thank you, sir. Now I shall invite our Vice Principal and Head Department of Chemistry, Dr. Aarti Sawant, to introduce our first speaker, Dr. T. Chandra Shekhar. Aarti, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Teresa. A very good morning to all the distinguished resource persons, CEO, and all dear participants. The biodata of Dr. T. Chandra Shekhar will reveal that he is the most befitting resource person for this webinar on MSc, QC, QA, RA, and AD. He completed his PhD from Ramnarayan Ria College in 1987, and in 2008, he completed a high potential leadership course from Harvard Business School, Boston, USA. His area of interest are pharmaceutical industry manufacturing, quality management, research and development, regulatory affairs, and IPR. In his career of 30 years so far, he has worked with very prominent pharmaceutical companies like Torrent, Cipla, Ranbaxy, to name a few. Besides his professional role, he is also an academician. He has guided 3 students for PhD, published 13 research papers, and submitted 10 quality monographs to US Pharmacopoeia and 5 monographs to British Pharmacopoeia. His profile is also published in FDD Leader Handbook, that is Formulation Drug Delivery Handbook. He is selected as one of the 100 mentors in global pharmaceutical industry, and currently he is the executive director, member of boards of Kusum Pharma, New Delhi. So with this brief introduction of a very eminent personality from industry, I request Dr. T Chandra Shekhar to start with his talk. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Principal Saab and all the faculty and members of the Patkar College and my dear students. And it is a pleasure for me. The contact point for Patkar is Dr. Pandit, who is my friend for last 35 years. All of you should know that we studied together, and then we have spent those good and bad days together. And 2 weeks ago, Jesse called me and said that I'm having this, starting this MSc course in Patkar College, which is focused on QC, QA, R&D, regulatory. And I was very excited to hear this. And then I said that any support you want from my side, because today this is what is a need of the hour for the industry, that we need such type of courses which are focused towards the industrial needs. And nevertheless, I must thank Dr. Aarti Saban for giving me such a wonderful introduction. And thank you very much, ma'am. And now it's my pleasure to just share some of my thoughts. Begin with, I will be giving you an overview of the quality in the pharmaceutical industry, with emphasis on touch base on R&D, which will be a little bit on the formulation development and on the analytical development. And then we'll jump on to the quality control, regulatory affairs, and the quality assurance aspect. After that, as during my course, the presentation will not tell you the importance of these things in the industry, but I'll be speaking how much passionate I am looking for candidates who are ready for with some practical experiences to come into the industry, because it is a big challenge for us to take a fresher, train them, retain them. So I think may I request my first slide to be put on this screen. Yeah, as I said, the topic of my presentation and discussion will start with an overview of the quality in the pharmaceutical industry, with an emphasis on R&D, which will be formulation and development, and analytical development, regulatory affairs, quality control, and the quality assurance. Next slide, please. I think I'll give you the benefit for the students is that I think it is very important for you to understand the pharmaceutical industry. The pharmaceutical industry in India has played a pivotal role in the development and also contributed towards the welfare of the humanity by providing significant socio-economic benefits for the society. I mean, what I mean by this is that I think all of us would agree that this becomes one of the most important department or industry for the country, because it deals with healthcare and human health. And our Indian pharma sector is going to be one of the biggest and the third largest market by 2020 in terms of its incremental growth. We are growing exceedingly well, and then India has one of the best pharmaceutical companies in the world, and we match and we run shoulder to shoulder with all the multinationals in the industry. You must know that the pharmaceutical industry is a highly regulated industry, because don't forget that we are talking about consumer protection. Now, that as a result of that, it is governed by various rules and regulations which collectively form called as current good manufacturing practices that will govern the supply chain, manufacturing, quality, and marketing of the medicines. to manage the quality aspects of the pharmaceutical product, and I'm talking of the end product, there are various departments within the industry, within the pharmaceutical company, which will form the integral part. Now, again, the emphasis is on quality. In addition to these departments, there are many other departments in the company which are as important as them. But then now, as I'm emphasizing on quality, the reason why I'm putting formulation development as the first is that it has to be a good thing coming in first. I mean, it should not be a garbage in and garbage out. I mean, if we get into that situation, then we are in trouble. So the starting point has to be perfect, which is the formulation development. That means the product, the way the product has been developed in the research and development. Now, it is not enough for the product to be developed unless the person who is developing the product knows what he has developed. As a result, the support function, which is analytical development, forms another important aspect. And I would say that analytical development is the heart of the R&D, because without that support, I don't think we can proceed forward with respect to the quality and the stability of the products. Now, after the products are developed in research and development department, they get transferred into the manufacturing setup, which is the manufacturing plant, which my friend Dr. Desai will probably talk, because he's more on at his later stage in this presentation. And in that aspect, the quality assurance department is very critical. And quality assurance is a department which I'll be talking in details as I move forward. But then that again becomes those departments which I would call as they are the monitoring department which assure the quality. I mean, they have to make sure that it is not only in the testing part, but right from the raw material input till the product going out, there has to be an assurance that everything has been manufactured and handled with respect to a good system, process, and following the standard operating. The quality control again does the function of what the analytical development does for R&D. That means quality control will test all the products, which are including the raw material, the packing material, and all the input material getting into the company, and also the finished product which gets out of the market and which is available in our chemists. They do the testing as per the prescribed methods and the specifications to ensure that the product meets the quality requirement and is acceptable for the consumer to consume, and it is safe. Further, as the product is ready, it is important that the product, somebody has to tell the regulatory agency, which are the governing, which I call it as a Ministry of Health, which govern the pharmaceutical industry. So the regulatory department becomes the link between the pharmaceutical industry and the Ministry of Health, they provide a dossier. A dossier is nothing but a compilation of all the information needed about the product, which includes the quality aspects, the clinical aspects, and which includes the bioequivalence studies and the pharmacovigilance and everything. And that is compiled into a dossier and sent to the Ministry of Health. My next slide, please. Now, we will be, I will just spend some time on the starting point of in the pharma industry, which is the research and development. And the research and development is crucial for any pharmaceutical company for continuous product pipeline. I mean, if the products are not developed, we have to understand one thing very clearly, that India is more emphasizing on India is not an innovator country. India is a generic product where the products which are already going out of patent, or few products which are in patent, we develop those products and sell them as a generic product. So in our case, it is very important for us to identify what are the products which will be going forward, and which again is done by the marketing department, because they are doing the market survey and then they understand the pulse of the market. And the R&D plays a very crucial role for a continuous product pipeline as they develop new products, and then they submit and then they transfer the technology to the manufacturing locations. And R&D, now a company which has an R&D setup has definitely a competitive advantage over the company which does not have an in-house R&D setup, because it is very, very important for us to do a backward integration of the product. Now, a product cannot come from the sky. It has to be developed from somewhere. Either you contract it out or you develop it in-house. I mean, my opinion is that having a research and development in-house definitely has a competitive advantage for the organization. The different two important functions of R&D are the formulation development and analytical development. And the R&D's core strategy is based on differentiated product portfolio. That means it can be different types of product line, which I will talk in my next slide, and integrated development to make sure that the products are developed in such a way that they are ready for marketing in the later stage. Then the technical expertise and the cultural diversity. Next slide, please. Now, it's just a brief idea on the R&D, how functions, the intra-departmental activities. Now, let us start with the arrow which is directly on the top, which says the product initiation is done by the marketing. The marketing tells us which are the products which they need. And then in the pharma industry, again, it is not that the marketing tells you to develop a product and then you can start it. It is again a budgeted, but there's a financial management is very critical. Otherwise, all of us are in the pharma industry to serve the society and also to on the commercial aspect to make money. So it's very important that the budget allocation by the finance is done, and then the raw material and everything is requested to the purchase. Then there's a licensing activity which is done, which says that the local state licensing authority will give a permission that yes, you can start development and manufacturing of this product. Then in the prototype development is done, which means initially they will do many different recipes of the product, and RA to make sure that there is a regulatory compliance. And I hope I'm not going too fast. I mean, any feedback from the participants? It's okay? Right. Then there is always also a process optimization. Make sure that the product manufactured, how it is produced, the steps are optimized. That means if you say that I have to blend it, mix it for some time, what is the time I have to mix it? If I have to, have some moisture content, water content in it, what is the moisture content, etc., etc. That is process optimization. And then there is a stability study which is done by the analytical development, which they put the products which are manufactured in the R&D into conduct the stability studies, make sure that the product is stable. Because first the prototype which are developed in the R&D are tested to make sure that they have stability and they are stable. And the research and development says the technology package with the regulatory and then also to the quality assurance. Then now the plant activity happens. Once the R&D is ready with the product, the batches have to be taken in the manufacturing locations, which is called as the exhibit batches. And the planning and procurement of the raw materials and excipients are done by the plant management. and then the plant does the stability studies which is done by the QC and managed by the QA department. After the data is available, which is about 6 months of accelerated stability data, which is 40 degrees and 75% relative humidity, which the samples are kept in ovens and then tested periodically every 3 months and 6 months, and a product which is stable for 6 months at 40 degrees and 75% relative humidity extrapolates the stability for 2 years in control room temperature, which is our normal ambient temperature, which is around 25 degrees centigrade and 60% humidity. Then based on that data, the filing is done by the regulatory affairs. And after the filing is done by the regulatory affairs, the Ministry of Health, they review the dossiers, and then based on any clarifications, there is some queries which are sent, and then the product gets approved, and then you get the market authorization to manufacture the product and sell that product in that particular country. Next slide, please. Now, a quick thing on the formulation development. The formulation development, I mean, what is a formulation? I mean, in technically, formulation is a process of combining various chemical substances with the active drug to form a final medicinal product, which is called a drug mixture or a drug formulation. A drug formulation can be given to patient in various forms like solid, semi-solid, or liquid. The type of the formulation given depends upon the patient's age. And when I mean the type, it is the dosage form, how it is given. Is it given as a tablet? Is it given as an effervescent tablet? Or is it given as an injection? Depends on the patient's age, sex, health condition, and is specific for particular route of administration. The different forms of drug formulations are the conventional tablets. Then there is an enteric coated tablets for these are the products where you need some enteric coating and protection so that it withstands the acidic condition of the stomach and gets absorbed in the intestine. Then there's a controlled release tablet where the drug is released in a controlled way so that when the patient takes the drug, immediately he gets a relief, and after that the drug is released in a controlled way so that he gets the immediate relief, and then the cure happens. Similarly, the sustained release preparation. Then there's a capsules. Then there are oral preparations, which are nothing but mainly the tablets. Then there are topical preparations, which are ointments, creams, gels, shampoos, and products in sachet. Then there are bilingual, sublingual, and buccal administration products, like one for the heart. This thing you have it in the buccal. This thing where you should know that a drug is best and fast absorbed from the buccal cavity, the mouth. Then there is a suppositories. These are basically wax-based suppositories where the route of administration is rectal or the vaginal inserts, where these are needed for certain types of patients where the health conditions don't permit them to swallow the tablets. So these are administered as suppositories, which are basically wax-based. And there are these enema liquids, which are again the thing which are needed for a cleansing of the system in the skin, which is again administered through the anal cavity. Next slide, please. So the formulation, see, I'm emphasizing on formulation development because once the product is developed properly, then everything is good. It has to be a robust development, and then the product can be scaled up for manufacturing in the pharmaceutical manufacturing plants. The activities of the formulation developments are, they do a pre-formulation studies where they understand the product and how it is done. Then there's a reverse engineering done of the reference product. When I say the reference product, this is the innovator product who has, because earlier I did mention to all of you that India is more of a generic market where we do a Me Too type of a product, where we have a product which is identical or similar to the reference product, which was the product probably invented and introduced into the pharmaceutical market maybe 20 to 25 years than what we are doing now. Then there's a formulation optimization studies. As I said, we optimize the conditions of the different formulations. What is the quantity to be added? What is the time to be done, and etc. etc. Then there is process optimization, which is again the parameters which are needed for the process. And then there's a process validation and a technology transfer to the manufacturing location. Next slide, please. And now let's come to the analytical development. And students, this is one of the important department. I think if you are going to join this MSc course, you will be going through this topic. And it's one of another important department for any pharmaceutical industry, where, as I said, R&D is important, but then I would say that the analytical development is the heart of the R&D. Because here, if you, and again, I must congratulate the Patkar College for including this topic in the MSc course, because today, as you look into the pharmaceutical industry, most of the companies are going towards having a R&D in their setup. So once there is an R&D, there is an analytical development. Once there is an analytical development, there are skilled people who are needed. And once the skilled people are needed, I think I will go back to Patkar College and say that I need ready-made students who can get into this department. Now, idea on the analytical development. Analytical development is a core technical department in the pharmaceutical research and development. It is involved in the support to the formulation development, in the development of different types of product through support during pre-formulation, degradation studies, stability studies, technology transfer, and technology dosage preparation, and support to filings in the different countries. Because all the data which is needed for filing, everything will come from this department. That means here you will be required to know the conventional way of chemical testing, the chemical testing by the instrumental way, using the instrumental methods, good current modern techniques. In addition, you also have to know the process of the method development, method validations, which are very crucial. Then there will be some emphasis in the analytical development. I would say very less emphasis is given on microbiology, because it's not taken in that aspect, this thing in the analytical development. The analytical development department has all the modern equipments like HPLC, GC, mass spectroscopy, UV visible spectrophotometer, NMR, and XRD. And the more the instruments you have, the particle size analyzers, the differential scanning calorimeter, which is needed for the polymorphism study, the XRD is X-ray diffraction technique, which is needed to the polymorphic purity. The activities in AD are governed by various guidelines of the US FDA, that is the United States Food and Drug Administration, and the ICH guidelines with the International Chamber of Harmonization, and EMEA, which is the European agency, the TGA, it's TGA, not TGC, and it's the PIX, which is the for the PIX market, which is a Europe, Ukraine, and all the markets, Russia, etc. Now, the major activities of AD are, first, they do a literature survey, and based on that, they start the analytical method development. Then, once the analytical methods are developed, they give this support. That means the formulation development guy makes a product and gives it to the analytical to tell him whether the product is made and the product contains the drug of interest, then they conduct the stability studies. They also do the degradation studies, where it is part of the distinct phase, where they will make sure that their methods are able to detect the impurities on the long run, where keeping there may be new impurities which are formed. So the degradation studies are a simulation of those later degradation, and to make sure that the impurities which can be generated at a later stage when the sample are picked up by the methods and the analytical methods which are developed in the analytical department. Then there are a lot of solubility studies done. The solubility studies are needed when you have to probably do some comparison with the innovator. And there's dissolution studies which are done. The dissolution studies will mimic the condition and the release of the drug. Like, for example, suppose we have a headache and a body ache. So we take an anti-inflammatory. Now, once I take the tablet, I should be getting a relief within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And after that, my pain in the body ache and this thing should get eradicated. So these dissolution studies will tell me that what is the amount of drug which is released over a period of time. In the dissolution, when I say dissolution studies, we will mimic the conditions what are present in our stomach, and mostly the drugs get absorbed from the stomach. And at a defined interval, say of 10 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the samples are drawn. And the percentage of drug released in the dissolution media, which again I said mimics your stomach conditions, which are acidic, or it can be, the buffer thing. Then we understand that, okay, at 10 minutes, from my tablet, about 60% of the drug is released. That means when I take the tablet, after 10 minutes, I get a relief from my pain. And over a period when after maybe 15 minutes or 40 minutes, or depends on the profile, when the complete absorption is there, that is about 100% of drug is released, my pain gets eradicated. This is the concept of a dissolution studies. Then there is in-process and development sample analysis, where that is again the support to the formulation development during the product development. After that, the methods which are being used need to be validated, which are as per the ICH guidelines, and that is a different topic. I think I'm sure the details will be covered in your MSc course during the course of the time. And finally, the methods are transferred to the quality control department. Next slide, please. Again, a brief this thing on analytical development, literature survey, active pharmaceutical ingredient, that is the API drug, working standard characterization, analytical method development, stability and routine analysis, analytical method validation. Then after that, specifications and standard test procedures are prepared. Then there's analytical method transferred to the quality control department. Then there is support to the cross-functional team, the drug regulatory affairs and the QC. Next slide, please. Now let's come to the next department, which is the regulatory affairs. In pharma industry, the regulatory affairs may be defined as the interface between the pharmaceutical company and the regulatory agency across the world. As I said, whatever is the development work, everything is done about the product in the company. That all those information, there's a prescribed, there's a set of rules and processes by which the regulatory affairs department compiles the data, and they form a dossier. It's called a set of, it's like your thesis or your journals. and then that is submitted to the regulatory agencies for approval of the drug in that country. Now, the rules of the regulatory affairs is that they finalize the regulatory filing strategy for new development on the basis of the regulatory guidelines of the particular country. Then it has to be the timely submission of the dossiers, and samples also need to be, the product has to be given as a registration. And when it is the registration, once you get a registration, it is given for a particular period of time, maybe for 2 years or 3 years. Then it has to be re-registered. Then from my initial filing, suppose I have changed the pack or I have changed a source of my active product, then I have to file a variation to the agency informing them that these changes have happened and still my product is stable. And in addition to that, we need to also queries which come from the agencies. So it needs to be responded. Then it is involved in the applications and approval of all the required licenses in the setup. Then finalize the reference product for product development. That means when I say the reference product, it is an innovator product. What is available in this thing, we have to choose the right innovator product for the country, the target country where we are interested to file our product. They are also involved in the artwork development. When I mean by artwork development, it is the pack, what you see on the strip. Now, one is what all of us, what catches our eye is the color of the strip and also the way the name is written. It is like, can be written Crocin, and then the color, blue color, etc., etc. What is important if you look at close is that there are a lot of small letters which write, they have written something in the small letters. I think today, once you all go home, you should keenly look at these things which will have the license number, which will have the place where the product is manufactured and place where it is marketing, and all those thing information. It is a responsibility of the regulatory affairs. Then inventory of packing material through artwork impact status for the product under registration. And that means if the packing material, that means the pack and the pack insert, what you have, the sheet inside the product you have, if it changes, some inventory management so that once the changes are made, the old product, old inserts, etc., do not go into the current. Next slide, please. As I said, this is the, in a nutshell, what is the function? How does this function? There is an R&D data of what the regulatory affairs take. Then there is data from the manufacturing plant. Then there is clinical trials data, which is bioequivalence in our case, because we are into generics. And then there is documentation. And then it is compiled into a CTD dossier preparation and submitted. And it is regulatory audit and product approval. Next slide, please. Now, after this, let's switch on to the quality management system. Now, quality management system, again, it becomes the umbrella of the industry, or for that matter, any industry. I think quality is important in all aspects. So now let's take an example of I pull out a comb from my pocket and comb my hair. Now, once I'm combing the hair, if the two teeth of the comb breaks, it causes me an irritation. Or if I'm lighting a matchbox and if the matchstick breaks, it causes me a irritation and nothing else. Then I take another stick, I get the thing. That means if the product does not do what it is supposed to do, there is an irritation in certain products. But now let's switch gear to a pharmaceutical product. Now, if the pharmaceutical product, if it does not do what it is supposed to do, then it is not the right thing, because we are again talking of consumer protection. So it is very important that the product, what it is supposed to do, it should be like, for example, if I take a tablet, And then if the tablet doesn't disintegrate and it doesn't break up in my stomach and release my drug and it comes out of my stools as it is, then it is of no use. It has not done the job what it is supposed to do. And in a pharmacy, that means the patient will not get the relief from the ailment. So to govern all these aspects, the quality management systems is very important for a pharmaceutical company. A quality management system, as it is collectively called as a QMS, is a set of policies, processes, and procedures required for planning and execution, which will be production, development, services in core business area of an organization. That is where it can impact the organization to meet the consumer requirement. There are two major functions of the quality management systems. One is quality control and another is quality assurance. Next slide, please. Now let's get into the first department, which is the quality control. The quality control department, again, like I was talking of the analytical research, the quality control is the heart of a pharmaceutical company, because it serves as a function to control the quality in production in pharmaceutical industry, and a significant portion of the current good manufacturing practices are required in the quality control lab for testing also. Now, quality control lab should conform to the quality of environment, input, raw material. I mean, when I say should conform, means they are the custodian who will ensure that, when I say the environment, that means the environment in which the product is manufactured. Environment also includes the water quality, what you're using. And in addition to that, the input raw materials, the excipients, the packing materials, water used, the finished products, they have to conform and they have to comply and pass with the predetermined specifications and under a highly regulated environment. It is in a quality control environment, all the procedures are written down procedures, and the quality control chemist cannot deviate from any of the written down procedures. So that's what I mean by highly regulated environment. The term quality control refers to a sum of all procedures undertaken to ensure the identity and purity of a particular pharmaceutical product. Now, it may range from a simple chemical testing. Like I said, it is necessary that I think during the course of your 2-year MSc, you will be taught the emphasis on the chemical analysis and also the instrumental analysis, where you will be using complicated instrumental analysis like HPLC, GC, dissolution apparatus, UV visible spectrophotometer, particle size analyzer, then the auto titrators, then the advanced techniques like nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, then there's an X-ray diffractometer, etc. Next slide, please. Now, let's understand why you need quality control. The quality control usually assesses the suitability of components and products, and it evaluates the performance of the manufacturing process with respect to written down and set specifications and limits, and determines the acceptability of each batch for each. Please understand that the product which is manufactured in a manufacturing location is tested 100% in the quality control lab, and once the product complies as per the written down specification. When I say written down specification, these written down specification would have been part of the dossier which has been filed by the regulatory affairs, and this specification have been approved by the particular regulatory agency, that for us these quality standards are acceptable. and the quality control department will test the products as per those specifications and the testing method to determine the batch for release. Now, the QC scientists are under close scrutiny because they work under an environment which controls the quality in production and to ensure the product release. And they need to make sure that they detect the right impurities and any contamination from raw materials till the finished products using the standard validated procedure. Supporting, they also are important because they support the relevant cross-functional departments like quality assurance, regulatory affairs to ensure the delivery of quality product to the consumer. Again, in the end, it all boils down to that a pharmaceutical company has a very, very high obligation towards consumer and consumer protection. Now, I mean, it is because we have to be sure that the product which takes, it could be probably my son or your brother and sisters who are taking the product. We have to make sure that the product does what it is supposed to do. That's very important in the pharmaceutical industry and also the quality aspects. Next slide, please. And whatever I've talked, I've just mentioned different the functions of the quality control. I don't have to read it out. All of you can just read it out. We can keep this slide for just a couple of minutes. Next slide, please. This is again the further functions. The point here which say data entry into LIMS. LIMS is a laboratory information management system, which is a, I would call it as a set of software type of an activity which controls all the activity in the quality control. And SAP is a ERP and setup which will control the functioning of a pharmaceutical company or any company. When I say the audit trails and data integrity, the audit trails are what when you do testing on the instrument. Once you do a testing, you cannot change any parameters or you cannot do any manipulation on the instrument. If you do that, everything will come as a printout in the audit trail that this time this person has changed this. So there is no scope for any manipulation in the system, the setup. And the quality control, the emphasis will also be on the major emphasis will also important department. It will also be the micro department, microbiology department. I think during the course, I've just seen the syllabus of your course, you will be doing that topic on quality control or analytical microbiology, and it becomes a very important department in the quality control. Next slide, please. Now, this is a typical section how it works in a quality control. So there are different sections. You see that the routine analytical section, non-routine, and microbiology section. Routine will be those who will be testing the products, and non-routine will be who will be maintaining the department, which will be the instrument qualification to make sure all the instruments are qualified. Then there is working standard and raw purified water and packing material, and also the chemicals management, chemicals which are used for testing, and the microbiology section which do the water analysis, environmental monitoring. Like I said, we do the air sampling, and then we do the room environmental condition, how is the condition, and then the microbiology limit test for the each of our product, that all our products should be conforming to the microbial limits prescribed by the regulatory agencies. Next slide, please. This is a typical picture of the one of the how a quality control lab will see. Look at it closely, you will see all the instruments which are kept there, and the important is the hygiene and the cleanliness of all the department. Next slide, please. Now let's jump on to the last section and thing which I'll be talking. Now, quality assurance, again, as I said, this is the body, the umbrella which opens, and then it governs the complete activities which are happening in a pharma industry, which is right from the input of the material into the plant till the finished product which is dispatched. All the processes, etc., are monitored by the quality assurance department. No activity in the company, in a pharmaceutical company, can happen without the oversight of the quality. So quality assurance again becomes the most important department. As I said, I use the word heart of the industry for quality control. And here I will be using the word, I would say, the most important and an umbrella for quality assurance. Now, the quality assurance in pharmaceutical is to assure that the medicines reaching the patient is safe, effective, and of a standard quality. It assures the overall quality of the pharmaceutical process from start to end. And quality assurance relates to how a process is performed and how a product is made. Quality assurance ensures that validated systems and procedures are followed without any deviation to ensure batch-to-batch consistency of process to maintain consistent quality of the product. This is very, very important paragraph which you should know, that this is a, this has to happen in a pharmaceutical company. It has to, all the processes have to be consistent. Every process has to be, you cannot deviate from the standard procedures. And then so that, because as the processes all are validated, the end product also is coming out with a consistent quality. Quality assurance also governs the different changes which are happening and investigates any failures or anything through proper documentation to have traceability and fulfill the regulation. If there is any deviation, like I say that you have to maintain a temperature of 26 degrees during the manufacturing process. For some reason, the air handling unit did not work or something happened, the temperature went up to 28 or 29 degrees. An investigation will be done what happened, and a risk assessment to be done to understand the impact of this high temperature on the product quality. All these things are governed under the umbrella of the quality assurance. Next slide, please. Now, again, the question, why quality assurance? Quality assurance department, it again comprises of adequate number of qualified persons to assure manufacturing, processing, packing, testing, validation, training, etc. are carried out as per the current GMP requirement. So, quality assurance will ensure that the drugs are designed and manufactured by fulfilling the current GMP requirements. The operation of production and controls are clearly specified in written and meet the current current GMP requirements. Then action is taken for manufacturing, supply, and correct use of the raw material and the packing material. All the controls are performed in the raw material, packing material, intermediate products, bulk products, as well as other in-process controls, calibrations, and the validation. The finished product is correctly processed and checked according to the procedure. As I said again, all the procedures in a manufacturing plant have to be done as per the written down procedures. Quality assurance will ensure that, and if any deviation is found, the quality assurance department has the authority to stop the manufacturing process at that moment. Again, that is not with a malice intention, but that is to ensure that the product is manufactured using the validated process and the end results, batch after batch, are coming out with a consistent quality. Next slide, please. I mean, these are the functions of the quality assurance. Again, this summarizes what I just mentioned. You guys can have a quick look. Any area which I have not touched upon, I will talk. Stability studies we have discussed. When you say control sample management, it is when a product is sent out of the manufacturing plant, a sample quantity is kept in the plant, which is, again, it is kept as a reserve sample where periodically it is physically observed to see if there is no change in the physical appearance because of the aging. And in case there is a complaint from the market, these samples are used to test the product to make sure that the product is okay. And then based on it will help them to respond to the market complaint. When I say the product quality review means it will do a complete review of all the batches which are manufactured in 1 year. So like say, for example, if a product, let's take a simple product, a paracetamol tablets. If I manufacture about 60 products, 60 batches in a year, I will map the different parameters of each of the batches to make sure that they comply and there is a complete, they're in the trend. I think remaining we have done. Vendor approval system means all the vendors, that means the people from whom I buy the raw material, people whom I buy the packing material and any other material in the manufacturing, they have to be qualified and approved by the quality assurance department. That means the quality assurance department visits those companies. They will check the type and the way the product is manufactured in that company, and then they certify that this company manufactures the API and the packing material as per the current good manufacturing practice and is suitable for us to procure and buy the raw materials from that company. So that is called as a vendor approval system. Next slide, please. As I said, I started with R&D, and now this will be probably my last slide, which is that I'm just touching on the concept of quality by design. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that it is very important that if it is garbage in, then garbage will come out. So the reverse applies to us here. That means if quality comes in, quality will go out. So this is what we say quality by design. That means it starts from the way the product is designed in the research and development. So it begins with research and development, and the product quality criteria must be established. In the research and development, they will say that these are the parameters which you need to follow as a result of it. That means there is a design. The way the product is developed, it is done through a design of different parameters, process controls, and a scientific rationale. Once you do a product using this type of a rationale, the product cannot go wrong and it will give you consistent. An example how advanced the pharmaceutical companies in Japan are. They emphasize a big way on quality by designs, and in many of the cases, like we do every batch testing, they don't even do the individual batch testing because they are so confident of the process that their process will give the product after product, batch after batch, consistent as per the required specifications. So this is the emphasis of quality by design, and a lot of companies within India are doing this quality by design. Yes, but India has not yet started by not testing the products, but then there are some way where probably they will skip some tests based on the data. But then important is that yes, quality has to be inbuilt. I think students, now it's very important for you because now the course what is designed, if you look at it, revolves and evolves around the quality aspect of the everything. I mean, I'm just emphasizing because I come from a pharma background. That's why I've been talking on pharmaceutical. This thing equally important will be all your pharma industry, your food industry. You talk of anything, you leather industry, you talk of a cloth, any industry. Quality is very, very important. And I'm glad that people will be doing this course. And I think I must again congratulate the management of Patkar College and my friend Dr. Pandit for starting such a wonderful course for the students. As I go into the industry, now can we go to the next slide? This is what I say the industry needs. Now, please understand one thing, that the pharmaceutical industry is virtually recession proof. Recession comes or whatever happens, the pharmaceutical industry will stay where it is, because that is a need and necessity of all of us living. So as in person from the industry, I have been having discussions with Dr. Pandit, and where I emphasized that important aspect will be the practical hands-on training to the students on the instrumentation and the chemical techniques and the microbial techniques, if possible, on the pharmaceuticals, food, etc., etc. So that today what is happening is that when I go to a college, I pick up students, I pick them up, I bring them to my company, then I train them. After 1 year, they get ready for my this thing. Now, if I get a candidate who has been trained by the college, I will be the most happy person, because I'll get a ready-made candidate and student. So as I said, this is the industry need, and it's very, very important to understand that students, that once you enter into this thing, please put your heads down and understand the course which will be conducted by thing. And that's all. Thank you very much, and I'm open for questions.
Sir, we have received some queries
from
the participants, which will be we request you to address them, and Yomesh will be taking up these in our question and answer session now. Okay. Yomesh?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question is from a faculty from Birla College. He's asking the content UG faculties must acquire so that they can mold the students in a better way.
See, depends on if you're. I can talk to you on the pharmaceutical industry. Now, the first updation or this thing will be the. Now let's talk of different this thing. I have talked on analytical development. I've talked on quality control, quality assurance, regular. Now, so important is that they have to understand the current requirement of the regulatory agency. That means there are guidelines available in the public domain, which are the mainly the heart of this thing is the ICH, International Conference on Harmonization. There are different guidelines for each this thing. I mean, if you start reading them and then understanding them, all the activities will be governed by this thing. It is important that all of us, like I'll give an example of myself. When I did my PhD when I finished my PhD in 87, the only instrument which I had handled was HPLC with great difficulty and a GC, gas chromatograph. But then as I entered into the industry, then I saw that all the advanced spectroscopy this thing were needed, like GCMS, the LCMS, etc., was needed. I learned as I was this thing during the course. So all of us have to be in a continuous learning process. We have to read. Reading is important, and then you have to, and probably these type of discussions are important. And my number is available. anyone can talk to me. I can share my knowledge and my experience and upgrade your understanding.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the next question. So it is by Sahil from Abhinav College. So he's asking about the career opportunities in various fields associated with chemistry.
Yeah. Basically, when you do a chemistry, now, as you move on, let's understand one thing. If you are talking of a chemistry graduate, that will be little inadequate for the industry. A minimum post-graduation will be recommended. And once you get into post-graduation, there are different fields, like you have an organic chemistry, organic chemistry field. Then there is an analytical research field. Then there's a physical chemistry field, and there's biotechnology field, and there's a microbiology. When you get into an organic chemistry field, you go into synthesis of APIs and this thing. That's more towards that. Yes, but the organic chemist guy can also come into testing. The analytical guy will be purely understanding on the testing of the complete products. I mean, I would here emphasize that somebody doing a course on a microbiology also will have a very good in the industry, because the industry also looks for people who have expertise in because every quality control will have a microbiology, and to man a microbiology department, you need somebody who has a specialization in microbiology. And biotechnology, I'm not sure. Biotechnology field in India is moving very slow. And compared to the other fields, I would say the biotechnology, I would put it as a lower thing with respect to the options available in the industry.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the next question. So it is stating, what are the new scopes associated with chemistry regarding jobs, and how do we choose the further field for better career?
Yeah, it should go with us ourselves. First important is that once you're studying chemistry during graduation, you will understand that your aptitude is towards organic reaction mechanisms or for other techniques. Once you understand that you have interest in organic this thing, then you go for organic chemistry. That means the part or the analytical part. But then that is the time where you have to choose and be very clear. And again, I'm emphasizing just doing a graduation won't be adequate. I mean, again, doing something like this course will be a superb thing for the industry, which covers all this topic. And I think the syllabus is good, but then we will be refining the syllabus and adding more topics. So, I mean, it's going to be a wonderful course for this MSc course, what Patkar College is offering.
Thank you, sir. We have a question in a chat box. So the person is asking, do we have to study about structures of drugs and their properties?
No. No, not in this chemical field, because it is not relevant here unless you get into an organic chemistry side where. But then you should please understand, it is not the structure of the drug, because structure of the drug, after that, a new drug comes, and then there is here the mechanism, the reaction mechanism will be little important if you want to get into organic chemistry. But like if you want to know the structure of, are you needed to understand the structure of paracetamol? Answer is a no, not needed.
So the next question is from Madhav Rao from Ratnam College. So he's asking, he's in the last year of a Masters of Analytical Chemistry. So he wants you to guide regarding the industrial job and information regarding industry where he can apply.
Now you're in the final year of this thing.
Analytical chemistry.
Final year of MSc Analytical Chemistry, and in the last semester, I think you will have some industrial placements, if I'm not wrong. once you are in the, or if the moment you give your exams, you can start applying to the industry. Now, I have taken a lot of students who have just passed their, given their MSc exams and results awaited. I have taken them. Subject to that, they getting good marks in passing the MSc and then getting some good marks. And then, so it's appropriate that once you are in the end of the course, you can apply for the jobs.
So we have a new question, sir. It is related with biotechnology. So the person has said, sir, that biotechnology has a lower progress in India, but still, what are the opportunities for biotechnology students in India, in industry and in laboratories?
As I mentioned during my discussion, the biotechnology in India is moving still slow. There are very few companies who are working aggressively on the field of biotechnology, because one is it is a highly time-consuming process, and biotechnology with just a post-graduation in biotechnology also may be inadequate. They may have to go in for further studies in biotechnology, and then get into some companies who will be doing discovery. I mean, there is a generic and a discovery. So discovery process there, the biotechnology person will be useful. Yes, if the biotechnology person has done there are two ways. One is I have chosen the field of biotechnology because I liked it, or second is I chose the biotechnology because I did not get in any other field. So I did biotechnology. I mean, there are two options. Let's accept it. If the second happens, you do biotechnology because you didn't get probably in the other fields which you wanted, then still a biotechnology person can get into any of these things, testing. As I said, for me, I don't mind taking a fresher college guy from biotechnology, and anyway, I'm going to train him. I can put him in quality assurance, I can put him in quality control, but he will go through that vigorous training from my company, and then he can get the job in any of these departments.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question that is from Pankaj from Metibai College. So he's asking, what is the minimum and maximum pay that can be received after completion of the course and when we apply for the job?
Yeah, let's understand this course. Once you complete the course, we are talking of this MSc course, right? Which the college is offering.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Once you complete the course, that means, as I said, for me as an industry person, I will get a person who is ready-made, and I have to do less efforts on his training. Now, let's take a person who is fresh from college who has not done this course. He enters into my college, my industry, as a trainee. Beginning, he will get a initial per month salary of around 20 to 25,000. Now, with this course happening, probably that can be hiked up. I'm not sure it can be hiked up, because if you come out with 1 year experience, then probably it will go up to 30,000 to enter. As you enter, to start per month this thing. Maximum sky's the limit. Depends on your performance and how you do. I mean, that's the.
Thank you, sir, for answering the questions.
Did I overshoot my time, my presentation?
No, sir, that's okay. Absolutely fine.
Okay.
Teresa ma'am, you can take over. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I request Arti Sawant madam to introduce our Honorable Secretary Dr. Gurunath Pandit sir, who will be speaking about the course, about the introduction of the new course, MSc QC QA RA and AD. Over to you, Sawant madam.
Thank you. Again, now it's good afternoon to one and all our distinguished resource persons, our principal, our CEO, my colleagues, and all the participants. It's an honor to introduce a dynamic personality like Dr. G.V. Pandit, who is also a joint secretary to our management, Chikitsak Samuha. He completed his PhD from University of Mumbai with a topic very much related to today's webinar on introduction of the new course, MSc QC QA RA AD. His title of the thesis was Development of High Performance Analytical Separation Techniques in Quantitative Estimation of Drugs. His area of interest are regulatory affairs, analytical chemistry, basic research, technology transfer. His interests go beyond profession also. One can say he is a philanthropist. He is a patron for rural educational advancement for socially deprived and differently abled students. There are two programs run by teachers and students of Patkar College, Your Belief, Student Relief, and PATK. This program is for students of the section, of the deprived sections of the society. These two programs are brainchild of Dr. Pandit. Dr. Pandit is also an ex-member of CNET and ex-member of Management Council, University of Mumbai. He has spent 30 years in pharmaceutical industry and currently Sir runs a medium-sized industry known as Anazil Private Limited. So Sir will be talking about the conduct of the course as well as the facilities available and the prospects. So I request Dr. Pandit to please proceed with his talk. Thank you. Dr. Pandit.
Hello, Bhushan. Dr. Bhushan. Hello. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Aarti Sawant. And thank you very much for Dr. Chandra Shekhar, Dr. Rajiv Desai, everybody, to be a party to this. Dr. Chandra Shekhar, it was very informative about your knowledge and experience to the students. At Patkar College, we have been, planning for the future of the students, many new things. And we boast that this particular course will be making the students very industry friendly. What industry requires, we will be giving them the manpower. And that's why I would like to go ahead with chronological aspects. Bhushan, these are the contents of my addressing to the students. We keep on saying that this is a very novel kind of a program. What is novel about it? In my opinion, till today, right from yesteryears, right from our days or earlier days, till today, every graduation or a post-graduation is emphasized on the bookish or a theoretical knowledge most of the time. We are imparted, we have to learn and this thing. We have to arrive at the conclusion. But this course happens to be extremely practical based course. The students will be getting, along with the theory, to hands-on experience on the practice. The HPLC, what Dr. Chandra Shekhar said, that till his PhD, he had had only an exposure on HPLC and GC. Here, my student will be getting an exposure on not only the best of the HPLCs, not only the best of the GCs, but GCMS, atomic absorptions, UV, IR, and so on. HPTLC, preparative HPLC, flash chromatography. And believe me, we are already equipped with this particular equipment for the sake of the students. Now, let us come to the instrumentation exposure. What would be the instrumentation exposure the students will be having? Yes, these are some of the instrumentation exposures what we are likely to give it to the students. This is what the instruments we have already procured and has been using in our laboratory. This is a classical GCMS. This is an UV absorption. Dr. Chandra Shekhar mentioned about the R&D and the dissolution test apparatus. Now, dissolution test also will be, this is a classical HPLC. Yeah, this is a dissolution test, the student, for the sake of the students. This is what Dr. Chandra Shekhar said, that it mimics the exact procedure what takes place, the exact dissolution takes place in our stomach. This instrument can mimic and find out what is the aliquot being absorbed by our body. Then the next instrument, Shailendra. Hello. Yeah. These are the few instruments. This is a HPLC. HPLCs are also of different types. There are isocratic, gradient systems, quaternary gradient. The detectors are many of them. Now we are having the best of the detectors, including the UV detector to PDA. PDA is a photodiode detector. It would be, having an extra feature vis-a-vis the earlier detector. So the students will be exposed for the impurity profiling on these instruments. Next instrument. Yeah, this is an atomic absorption. You can see the hood on top of it. Atomic absorptions are very well known. The spectroscopy used for the inorganic impurities. Maybe in today's world of corona, the Ayush Mantralaya or the Ayurvedic formulations have gained a very much great importance. Now, since many years, the entire world was requesting India to standardize the inorganic potential impurities in the formulation of Ayurvedic formulation. This instrument can do the inorganic potential impurities and arrive at the conclusion and make our even various formulations to qualify in the world market. That is atomic absorption. Could you show GCMS, please? Yes. The students, probably I took 20 years to work on this instrument. The student will be having an opportunity right in the second semester to work on such instruments called as GCMS. This is a hyphenated technique. What the gas chromatograph and the MS. The MS is being used as a tool of detector, and the minutest of the impurities, the minutest of the ingredient can be quantified and characterized with effect for this. So the students will be fortunate to work on such instrument. Then next instrument. Yeah, dissolution has been seen. Yeah, this is an IR. I think this is an infrared spectrophotometry. Infrared spectrophotometry is having its own versatile. This is an FTIR, and I'm sure this FTIR, who would be the best nostalgic memories than Dr. Chandra Shekhar? The students and entire fraternity, I would like to emphasize with this respect to this instrument. Dr. Chandra Shekhar has been a person, the only Indian to win the legal battle in US on this instrument. American I think I am right. So please believe such a best of the instruments have been procured already in our laboratory, and we have been fortunate to offer them to the students right from day one. Next one, anything else is remaining? We are recently likely to have HPTLC which we have ordered, which will be in another 1 month's time in our laboratory. Also, the preparative HPLC will be at your disposal. Now, the next point happens to be, you know, some of the very important books in our library. We took we did our PhD. We took at least 3-4 years to have the tracing of the big imported books. Like nowadays, the USP. See, these are some of the books which are extremely valuable. In the colleges, very seldom you get such books to refer. These are Indian pharmacopoeia, they are British pharmacopoeia, then there is USP, then the best of the GMP, GLP, and all books would be available for the students. Now, all these pharmacopoeia, what are they? They are the Bibles of pharmaceutical and food industry. They will be having all the raw material to packing material to intermediate, all the chemical entities in the form of drugs will be having how to analyze, and their specifications will be given over here. The best of the practices, the theory will be given here, which ultimately will be taught to you by the industry experts. Next one. What is that? Now, for the students, I would like to emphasize upon that the teachers, who would be their teachers? Yes, our professors will be doing the justice. In addition to our experienced professors, we'll be having people like, these are the few people who have agreed to come and teach their experiences, like Dr. Chandra Shekhar did it today. He is Dr. Milind Joshi, Dr. Ashwini Saxena from IPCA Laboratories, Dr. Vipul Doshi from Venus Labs, Dr. Purandare, who has been heading CIPLA in regulatory, Dr. Godbole, Septec, Dr. Dilip Charegaonkar of HPTLC, a Swiss-based company. These are the stalwarts who have already agreed to come as speakers and teach the students. There are plenty of many more of them. We have been fortunate to share the relations. I'm sure Dr. Chandra Shekhar would like to visit our laboratory and give the lecture in person. Dr. Rajiv Desai would like to do follow the suit and come here and explain his point of views with the students. So
Yes,
ultimately, we are going to have the industry person to share their knowledge, share their experiences with the students, and the students to make absolute industry friendly. I just would like to make the emphasis on the RTW concept. What is RTW? Anybody? RTW is ready to work. The student, somebody asked Dr. Chandrasekhar a question that he is on the verge of completion of his analytical post-graduation. Now he is very good. I am very happy for that boy, because I also did once upon a time analytical this thing. Dr. Chandrasekhar did the same. Probably that boy would be having a very right kind of a spirit and right kind of approach if he understands his instrumentation, which is the heart of any industry. Now we will be making the students very industry friendly. RTW means they will be given the practical training. What will be their practicals? Their practicals will be working on new methods, working on new molecules, working on the instruments, HPLC, GC, GCMS, UV, microbiological, the entire setup. Dr. Chandra Shekhar also mentioned about the environmental control. Whatever the injections and all will be made, they have to be with a great amount of microbiological inputs. That also we would be very eager to train them. And most important aspect of this course would be the last semester, the student, the fourth semester, the student will be spending in the industry by working himself. This will be an industrial training of 6 months. He or she will come back with ideas, whatever the experiences, and they will be making a small thesis, a black book. They will be interviewed, the viva voce will be taken, and then they will be given the degree of MSc. I call it as a Patkar-Varde, QC, QA, RA, and AD. Patkar-Varde will be conferred on them. They will be making their efforts in the industry, and they will be starting their future in the industry vis-a-vis the traditional post-graduation. This graduation should, I emphasize, should enable them to go one step ahead than those who have not done it, because everybody is eager. How much do I make money in my life? Probably, I would say it will be directly proportional to the efforts you make. You please make the best of the efforts. You try to learn the curve of life in a continuous fashion, and everybody will be making money. You will be going ahead, having an edge over whatever the traditional boys have done. Like, why value addition? You see value addition. Somebody asked, and Dr. Chandra Shekhar promptly said that 20 to 25,000 rupees you will be starting at. I'm sure the students who will be doing this course, as the industry will be saving time on them. See, from the day one they join the industry, they will be in the position to do the analysis. The industry did not put an effort on them, and they will be doing it right from the day one. They will be definitely eager. The industry will be eager to pay them more. How much more will be dependent on industry to industry. But are all students who will be doing this MSc Patkar-Varde, QC, QA, RA, and AD will be definitely having an edge technically and also financially. We have been very fortunately work on this particular course, an unique course which we call it, and we wish the students to do this to have a little edge over others and have a better future. I think I am done with these contents. Any questions, if at all somebody has, I would be very eager to answer. Any questions, Dr. Bhushan, would be?
Sir, we have collected certain questions prior, so can I ask them right now?
Yeah, sure. Prior or on the spot also, we would be eager. Yeah, please.
So the first one is from Jose Alcaram. So he's asking, in India, where are such courses conducted with respect to QA and QC?
Oh my goodness, good question. See, probably in Mumbai, in India, we have not come across these courses because nobody would be having this advanced instrumentation like Patkar College we have created. But definitely, there is for pharmacy, post-graduation, M.Pharm QA, it is there in many universities. But that basic qualification happens to be a B.Pharm. Here, this is what the course which has been designed predominantly for those who are the science graduate, to make them industry friendly, this course. So in my opinion, there may not be many who would be offering such courses in QCQA. Next question.
We have next question is from Anuj Pawar from Ratnam College. So what are the general questions asked for interview when we apply for QA and QC post?
Oh yeah, very eager boy. Yeah. See, basically, industry would be asking for your basic knowledge. And I would like to request this boy to come over and meet our entire teaching fraternity in this laboratory. They would be taking his training before he goes for the first interview. So please, Bhushan, you can write to them and such boys and girls could be trained for the interviews they are likely to face in the near future. All the best to that boy and all the best to all of them for facing the interviews. Yes, please. Next one.
So the next question is what is the role of organic chemistry as well as bioanalytical bioanalytical in such courses associated with QA and QC?
See, as Dr. Chandra Shekhar has rightly put it in, quality control, quality assurance, quality aspects are the heart of any industry. Now, role of organic chemistry, an organic chemist comes out with the novel ideas, new drugs, new methods. And the quality control person is the person who determines its impurities, its qualities, its residual solvent, its stability. So the organic chemist plays a very initial role, but the quality person, like a quality control, quality assurance person, plays a very little bigger role in making that particular organic substance in the industry acceptance. Again, the bioanalytical field is a very niche field, you know. We in this course also cover a bit of the aspects of bioanalytics. Like clinical research has been given an emphasis. Now, bioanalytical gives you an exposure only and only to one analytical instrument called as LCMS. But this course gives you a versatile exposure to n number of instruments. Bioanalytical gives HPLC and LCMS are the only two instruments one gets an exposure. But this course gives you right from atomic absorption to UV to microbiology setup to GCMS to HPTLC, and the students become so versatile as far as the instrumentation is concerned. I think I have answered his question. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the next one is from Ankit from GSM College. So he's asking, he want to pursue science of aging. So any kind of link with QA and QC?
No. I think, Ankit, it's a very good thing because the entire world, the aging people, nobody takes care of them, you know. But science of aging, you want to say, the QC QA doesn't make any emphasis on that. But this is called as geriography, geriatric, and medicine, post-graduation in medicine gives geriatric post-graduation. Hello?
Okay.
Yeah, next one.
Next question is, the students have been asking where they would get the details regarding the course, syllabus and the fee structure.
Yeah, good. Dr. Bhushan could be the best person to be contacted. I think it will be on our website. My request to the students would be, please log in to our website and all the details about the course curriculum, What would they be learning in the first to second to third to fourth semesters? Who would be teaching them? What would be the fees? What is the procedure of admissions? Everything will be on our website. The request to students would be, please log into our website, which will be very much elaborate. Next one.
So one of the student is asking that many of the companies are shifting outside Mumbai.
Yeah.
So after doing this course, is there a chance of them getting a job in Mumbai?
Very difficult one. Mumbai, see, who, my very humble request to this boy, who prospered. Hello, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Who prospered the most? If you see the history, the Alexander also left his country and came and tried to invade the entire world. That is how he could conquer the world. Unless we travel, unless we have the aim to go to the other places, how can we prosper? My request to this boy would be, please come out of the comfort zone and don't have the inhibitions to stick to Mumbai. Mumbai is the financial capital, but because of the various industries going in the various ways, now my emphasis would be, this boy should be told that Dr. Chandra Shekhar, belonging to Bangalore, came to Mumbai. From Mumbai, he took the education and went to Delhi. This is how the sign of prosperity. The person, our friend and colleague and our ex-student, Dr. Rajiv, he belongs to Mumbai, but went and prospered in Baroda. He got the experience, exposure, international exposure by traveling abroad. So that is what you should not be having an inhibition to stick to one point. Go with a very open heart, travel worldwide, you know many more things, and then you will be prospering in life. Next one.
So the next question is, what is the industrial application for the techniques which were mentioned in the webinar?
Oh, whatever the techniques have been mentioned and emphasized upon will be the only techniques will be followed in industry. See, Dr. Chandra Shekhar has covered virtually 95% of the techniques in his talk. So to answer his question, all the techniques which have been taught, which will be taught to you, will be having 100% of the applications in the industry. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So we have done with the questions.
Bhushan, what is next? I think Dr. Rajiv Desai would be the next speaker. Bhushan.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, everybody, and all the best to you.
Okay, I request Dr. Aarti Sawant Madam to introduce our third resource person and our proud alumni, Dr. Rajiv Desai.
Is Dr. Aarti Sawant on mute?
I am asking her to unmute.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Now you're audible.
Yeah, thank you.
You were on mute earlier.
Okay. So it's indeed a great pleasure to introduce Dr. Rajiv Desai to the audience of this webinar. Not only because he is another well-known name in pharmaceutical industry, but also he is an alumnus of Patkar-Varde College. He did his junior college, BSc, MSc from Patkar College, and then he went on to receive his PhD from ICT, which was earlier known as UDCT. He did his PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry. He also has to his credit the Masters in Management Studies from NMIMS. His area of interest are quality management, regulatory affairs, basic research, and technology transfer. He has worked with very reputed pharmaceutical companies, to name a few: Ciba Geigy, Novartis, Piramal, Dr. Reddy's, Mylan, Alembic Pharmaceuticals. He also worked as a faculty in our college before joining PhD. Then he was also a member of US Pharmacopoeia from 2010 to 2015. Presently, he is also a member of Board of Studies in many colleges in Mumbai, including ours, as well as a member of Board of Studies from colleges outside Maharashtra. And his present assignment is Executive Vice President, Corporate Quality Management, Lupin Limited. So, which is such a good repertoire. I request Dr. Rajiv Desai to summarize and review this entire webinar. Rajiv Desai, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aarti, and it's always a pleasure to get connected with any initiative that Patkar College, my alumni, my alma mater would be taking into. And what a fantastic session Dr. Chandra Shekhar and also Dr. Pandit gave you. And I couldn't agree less with what Dr. Chandra Shekhar said. Within a matter of 1 hour, he covered the entire areas, activities within the pharma industry, and it was amazing to just hear that. And to sum it up, Dr. Pandit also talked about the initiative taken by Patkar College to talk about what are the new courses that are coming up. And it is really heartening to know that this course is definitely going to be a big added value to the students coming out of the colleges and be industry ready, as we call them, industry ready for getting good opportunities and assignments. As Dr. Aarti said, that I was a Patkar College student. I did my MSc organic chemistry over there, just to tell you, and then moved on to work for a year and a half at Patkar College as a faculty, because that's what I got opportunity at that time. And fortunate to have Dr. Aarti Sawant, also my colleague to begin with, and she continued, and I moved out. And as what Dr. Pandit also said, that I lived in Goregaon. Patkar College was in Goregaon, and you can imagine what a comfort level that I had of not having the hassle of traveling around. But the moment I got an opportunity after getting into my PhD in Matunga, I also got an opportunity to work in different industries. But yes, it would not have been possible in just staying in Mumbai. I had to go out, and definitely I got good opportunities, good exposure in industry, and here I am. So as we know that the pharma industry of India is called the pharmacy of world, and almost like 40-45% of the medicines which are manufactured in India are for the world. And as Dr. Chandra Shekhar also said, that we are not so good at innovation. We are still a lot of years behind before we start making our own products, which are innovator products. But yes, we took the opportunity, which is a very good opportunity available in the pharma industry, of looking at the patent regimes and what products come out of the patents. And we start manufacturing products which are generic, as they call them. And most of the big pharma companies in India started exploring these avenues, and that's where we are. Obviously, with that, we started creating beautiful facilities, top-notch facilities in the country. Some of the best-known companies were worldwide known for them for their quality standards, and it didn't happen overnight. But definitely, this has been a long and very meticulous way of ensuring that we come to the quality standards of the world pharma expectations. Now, if we are making products for overseas countries, as we call them, the regulated market, the big companies, big countries, USA, Europe, Japan, when we make products, it's expected that the quality of the products is absolutely up to the mark. And to a large extent, I would say, India has been able to make products which meet the regulatory requirements of those countries. So why not? Because pharmaceuticals is very critical. You cannot expect to give any kind of inferior products to anybody. The patients do not have HPLCs and GCs to analyze your medicines that you make. So it's the quality standards which make the difference in the industries that operate in this area. With this, if you look at the number of facilities that have been accepted or inspected by FDA or any of the regulatory agencies, India stands on top of any other country. No wonder we have the most number of inspected facilities in the country. And it's a very, very nice to know that we are trying to make sure that all over the world, we are able to meet the requirement. In the current times, COVID situation, as you know, so much of disruption happened in all over the world, all over the country, and pharmaceutical industry stood up to the challenge, and we were classified under the essential services. And each and every company who are making medicines continue to make that. I'm sure that none of us really felt the pinch of not able to get the medicines whenever we wanted, even in these times. And obviously, the COVID also gave us the opportunity to make some of the medicines which have been used so very commonly now. It started with hydroxychloroquine, which is also made in India, and we are the world leaders for that. Obviously, it is used not to cure the COVID, but to have a preventive medicine for this ailment. And obviously, as you all know, remdesivir, or you talk about tocilizumab, which is also being used so widely now. It's actually manufactured in India with a license coming from one of the multinational companies in the USA. And not one, but not less than 5 to 7 companies in the country have the technology, have the ability, have the expertise, have developed and also made this medicine, the injection form, the tablets form, to be available for the patients who are needing in the country. I'm sure that with the kind of recent times that we have seen, that the API, which is also the backward integrated product that is used in the medicines for making the formulation, as what Dr. Chandra Shekhar said, we rely a lot on the Chinese manufacturing capability. And it so happened that when we started developing the pharma industry, the backward integrated material of the API, which were also being manufactured in India, started going outside the country, and it was taken over by Chinese manufacturer. They have advantage of volumes. They have the advantage of the government initiatives that are given, and they started sending back products or APIs which were cost effective. So we started using that API, and we developed our own formulation. But when we realized that during this political uncertainties, during the current times of COVID, I think that's the area where we thought that we have gone away from our capabilities, which were already there a couple of decades back, to the current times where we do not have that much capability now to manufacture the APIs in the country. The current initiative by the government, especially the Atmanirbhar Bharat, as we call them, are coming in line with giving a lot of initiatives to the industry. And this is going to be a big boon in the coming years. All the states, including Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Telangana, they are forming industrial zones, industrial areas, big initiatives, big incentives for the industry to set up more and more industries in these regions. And I'm sure that with the kind of prosperity that is going to come in the pharma industry, this industry is going to see different kinds of business opportunities and employment opportunities which are coming up. I'm sure some of the students just mentioned about whether it's organic chemistry, analytical chemistry. I think the colleges where you study, the BScs or MPharms or MSc that you study, you may not be able to get a chance to look and work on those instruments that Dr. Pandit spoke about. But it is important that you understand the basics of these instruments and the techniques that have gone. The techniques, the basics, and the theory has never changed. It remains same. Okay, only the advancements have happened in the technologies that come in the automation. What I studied 35 years back in Patkar College or in my college days has not changed. The basics have not changed. The spectroscopy has not changed. The chromatography has not changed. But the technology of using these basic techniques have definitely changed. And unless you know this, it becomes very easy for us to imbibe on these technologies in a very easy manner. I didn't have the advantage of using HPLCs and GCs in my college days. Of course, when I did my PhD, I did used several of these instruments, which ultimately helped me. But over a period of time, as we heard, I kept my eyes, ears, and my ability to learn open to make sure that I become an expert in this area. Now you talk of any technology, I'm over there. But in the recent times, you'll find that the students, it's also, aspiration now. The students want to see, I also get very surprised questions when I interview the students. Okay, they ask questions like, will I be getting a cabin? Will I be getting internet? Will I be getting my own laptop? Will I be getting this kind of? So they are looking for these paraphernalias as part of their initial joining. I think you should be ready to learn. You should be ready to struggle. There's nothing which happens, or nobody gives you anything on a platter. We also struggle a lot. We also learned the hard way. And that is the reason we could make our impact in this industry. And I'm sure that with that open mind that you would have students, you should be able to take the advantage of whatever the opportunities you get. And with the current times, I know that students are all tech savvy. And the technology is also coming up in the industry. Even now, we are also looking at huge technological changes that would happen in this industry in a big way. COVID has made that possible because COVID has given this opportunity to look at different kinds of methodologies of working in the industry also. So as we say, new norms of working, as all of you know that so many people are working from home. Is it possible to work from home? Not everything can be done in a remote manner, but many of the activities can be handled through remote possibilities also. Automation is coming in a big way. As Dr. Chandra Shekhar said, the dissolution apparatus, the analytical instruments, there are several technologies that are coming up which are robotic, machine learning, which are something that all of you are now becoming, these are becoming like buzzwords, artificial intelligence. This is getting inside the industry now. The analytical instruments are becoming more and more smarter. But I will not be able to understand the analytical instrument unless I know the basics of what the instrument is doing. And if I know the basics, if I know the way the instrument works, automation, software, artificial learning, machine intelligence will definitely is a stepping stone in all these technologies that are coming up. So keep your eyes and ears open, keep your learning ability open. I think the platform that you are getting in terms of these learning opportunities where Dr. Pandit and Patkar colleges are giving you is a absolutely amazing area. And I'm sure that this will help you. And since I'm right now working in the pharma industry, I have got 12 to 15 sites all across the country, nothing in Mumbai, mind you, nothing in Mumbai. And we do require students, we do require members to work in our R&D, QC, QA, RA, to understand and come with a ready-made students who are industry ready. Of course, as you join the industry, every company will have their own training methodologies. They will try to make sure that you become experts in those areas, and then only you'll be allowed. These instruments are not easy and cheap. HPLC would cost not less than 25 lakhs. LCMS, GCMS that Dr. Pandit spoke about cost more than 1 crore. So can you imagine that if you want to hand over an instrument to a student or a student who doesn't have the ability, it's very difficult to maintain them. The cost of maintenance, the cost of repairs are absolutely difficult. So you have to be ready. Now, the technologies that we use, the analytical instrument that we use, and the development that you go, it's the art and the science. So please remember that a person who has a qualification may not be, that's what my experience has been, may not be so ready to handle these instruments. These are instruments to be handled very delicately. So unless you have that kind of ability to understand instruments, work on those instruments in a delicate manner, you'll not be able to really survive. And when we induct candidates in our company, first of all, we look at the ability of the person to see if he or she has that ability to handle these instruments in a very subtle manner. You can't hand over a person who doesn't understand the delicate parts of the instruments. And if that person is unable to do that, I think he or she may not be the right choice for us. So it's important, your ability, your inclination to work in this kind of environment, your ability to understand these analytical techniques is very essential. And I can tell you that once you have the basics in place, once you have the experience of working on in these different departments, whether it's QC, QA, RA, or R&D, I think companies are looking at different avenues, whether it's marketing, business development, you name it. All these avenues are also opening up. In my company and in my earlier organizations, I have given candidates and students who have shown the inclination of going into different areas, not only restricted to QC, QA, RA, or analytical development or R&D. I have, if you ask me personally, I did my post-graduation in organic chemistry. I did my PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry. I started my career in basic research in Novartis and Ciba-Geigy. It was not something platter given to me, but it was a hard work that played. I would be proud to say that all the good learnings that I imbibed from my Patkar days continued. I ensured that I take the utmost opportunity to learn as much as possible in the industry. From R&D, with almost 10 to 12 years of R&D experience in technology transfer, I moved to quality management. And that's where I could, because of my base of R&D, because of my base of technology transfer, I could take up QC, QA, and now I'm heading the department and the company also. But at the same time, I have also seen some of my junior colleagues who have the ability to speak, who have the ability to talk, who have the ability to convince customers. Because ultimately, how do you convince your customers and your patients unless you have the basics behind you? If you have the basics, you'll be able to convince customers. And I know that when you sell your products, unless you know the importance of those technologies, you'll not be able to tell your customers. When you sell your products in the markets which are outside your country, I think it's important that your basics should be good, your experience should count on you, and that will take you in a career opportunities. There's a lot of opportunity, students, for each one of you. Don't expect that you will get immediately everything in front of you that you see around in a big organization. But yes, the companies are looking for candidates who have the ability to learn, who have the ability to take the opportunity, and also work as a team, work as an individual, and look at, and sincerity is very important in the pharma industry. You should be sincere, you should be faithful, you should have that kind of work ethics which goes beyond anything else. These are not consumer products. These are not products which are just use and throw. Medicines, as what Dr. Chandra Shekhar said, the impurity profile, the unwanted degradations which happen can have a major impact on the patients who consume these medicines. So as you all know, everybody is talking about when will the vaccine come. It's not overnight technology that would come in and tomorrow you start getting vaccine for COVID. There is a set of experimentation, there's a set of studies that need to be done. These are not fashion clothes which you see in the movies worn by the actors and actresses, and next day you find on the fashion street coming out. So there is a lot of study required. So we have to have patience. We have to make sure that they are done in the right manner. So once it comes out, once the medicines and the vaccines are there, the entire population and the affected people can be given. But there's a way, there's a scientific to be followed, and that's what we need. And we need students, we need members in the pharma industry, in any field, to take this forward and work very sincerely. So I'm sure that you have a great opportunity coming up now with the opportunity that COVID has shown you as a different kind of methodologies of working, whether it's automation, whether it's different ways of working. I'm sure there's huge opportunity coming up in this industry, and not only in pharma. Several opportunities would come up, and you should look at these avenues in your favor, depending on your caliber, depending on your inclination, depending on your aptitude. Some of you may not like to work in the laboratory or dirty your hands. Some of you may say that I'm used to working on a computer. But yes, I work on computers now. I have left all my hard work in the laboratory now. But that came up because I have the past experience. Now, if I go back and talk to anybody, I have the ability. So look at that challenges which come up, and I'm sure there's a huge career opportunities in the industry. And as I said, and we are there to support you. And it's my privilege for students anywhere from Mumbai or elsewhere who want to talk to us, huge career opportunities. We are looking at students who have the ability to take this as a challenge and bring them up to your career expectations. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We have few questions which we had asked during the registration of the students. So we have bifurcated those questions according to the resource person. So we have few questions for you as well. So Yomesh will take over to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So the first question is, what is the role of management studies after post-graduation or PhD?
Good question. I did that. Of course, what happens is once you have a technical education or a science background, initially that would take you to the career opportunities. But as you grow in your field, ultimately you have to manage people. You have to manage several things, and that is where it helps. So right now, if you ask me, I have a team of 2,800 people working in my group. So obviously, I give them support on the technical front. I give them support on the technical grounds. But at the same time, there's so many elements of management which I use now. Maybe a career opportunity, talking to them, or any kind of thing that comes up. And these technologies, these techniques of management definitely will help you. Many of the companies have these things built into their system as a person grows in an organization. When a person takes a leadership position, he has to manage a team. And if your educational background of a management is there right from the beginning, I think you can apply them as you go ahead in your career. But it's, I was fortunate enough because after my Patkar College, after my PhD, I worked at Sivagagi, which was at Goregaon. Fortunately, again at Goregaon East, where it's now become Novartis. And after 3 years of working, which was a mandatory requirement for management, I did that in Narsi Monji at Parle. It was a 3 years part-time degree course. I completed that. But I could immediately identify that more than the science, there's also this management which is important in a career. And I'm sure that there are a lot of education programs which look at this kind of a hybrid education program which takes you forward. But you should be able to use them at the right time. And you can't say that just because I did a management course, I would get that kind of facility and that career opportunities. There are times that you have to wait at the right opportunity and you'll be able to get that. So as you know that there are many students who complete their education in IITs and they go back and do the IM also, or management courses, because that's a very good combination to ensure that their careers are taking a different dimensions.
So the next question is the current syllabus followed by UG biology courses enough to prepare students for research and industry?
See, research in industry is all dependent on which industry you're talking about. As you know, in a generic industry, it's more of a process development. And multinational companies who have good funds and good, challenging, I would say, pathways of doing research, they have a different kind of research ability. So you have to look at what industry you're talking about and which company especially is looking at it, and what is your individual inclination. Are you going to be restricted to research? Are you going to be restricted to moving to manufacturing, quality? So those are the different things. So it's a very general question, but like companies like us also, we also have biotechnology. We started in a small way. Now, in the next couple of years' time, we'll be moving into biotechnology, of course, from the conventional API formulation, the conventional formulation of oral solid dosage, injections, dermatology, or asthma products. These are different technologies that we use for our ailments. But biotechnology is a totally different one. So we started this about a couple of years back, and we did a good progress in this industry. We have got our own facility now in Pune. But the kind of research that we do is more focused towards the products that we make and the technologies that we want to look at. Of course, as the company grows, and that's the ambition for every company, big or small, that they would like to go into innovation, making products which are innovation driven. Of course, the challenges are very high, the stakes are very high, but once you really get into really good research and the product gets commercialized, I think the sky is the limit. So all these big companies that you name, or Pfizer, or Johnson Johnson, Bayer, or other big companies, Novartis, they spend a huge amount of their resources on basic research, and they come out with medicines which are not been used earlier, but they are path breakers. And because of their plans to invest money year on year, that's where they could make a big difference in the innovation. Indian companies, big companies in India, are definitely trying to look at how they can invest in innovation, but the most of the R&D efforts and the investment is still in the product development, generic products that they're doing, and that's where the focus is. So depends on the company that the R&D and the technology can be looked at.
Thank you, sir. So next question is for you as well as Dr. Chandra Shekhar. So we need to know one troubleshooting incident in your career.
Oh, lot. Every day is a troubleshooting. So obviously troubleshooting in the sense that the challenges keep on changing. I'm not sure if I can give a small example. The most important troubleshooting or the thing, of course, Dr. Chandra Shekhar will also agree on that. When we develop a product, it's not possible to know every aspect of the product, and that's what the first challenge should be, that you should know the pros and cons of the drug that is made, or the material that is made, the product that is made. As we heard, that a product is not good enough unless you know what are the ingredients that go into it. So the raw materials that Dr. Chandra Shekhar touched upon, the vendor qualification or your partners that they make, because you should know where you buy the raw materials, how does he make it, is it in line with your requirement, and if they don't make it in a proper manner, you're bound to get quality issues in your product. Now, unfortunately, a couple of years back, say 2 years back, it started a few years back on the what you call as genotoxic impurities, where that there are some impurities in the medicines which could lead to cancer, which could lead to oncology issues. So those are the genotoxic impurities which have been started identifying. Now, in the past, I would say that the analytical instruments which were used were not so sensitive. They were not going into that level of lower levels of impurity detections and quantifications. With the recent advancement of those instruments, we are able to detect impurities to a ppb level, parts per billion level. And when a patient takes a medicine, maybe a diabetic patient or a asthma patient or a person who has a heart issue, he doesn't take medicines for 1 or 2 days. It's not like a cough and cold where the doctor goes and says, ye jo dawai le lo, 2 दिन के लिए, 2 दिन के बाद हो जाएगा. There are patients who take medicines on years together. Now, just imagine if a patient is administered a medicine, and over a period of time, when the patient is consuming, on one hand, he's getting either not cured. I would not cured, but at least a controlled level of his diabetes or asthma or heart. But at the same time, he's also consuming those impurities in his body. Now, these impurities, when they build up, at a certain point of time, they start giving you adverse reactions. Now, these adverse reactions, you might have heard that somebody losing hair, or somebody not able to speak properly, or skin irritations and all those things. Now, these are nothing but the side reactions of a medicine which are not been studied in the past, or which are unforeseen, or which are not known. Now, these are things that will definitely make you very important for us to understand how the medicines, how the impurities are reactive, how they are looking at how they are being studied. And I would say the most challenging part in my career was, or even the recent times was, when you start looking or identifying these impurities in your medicines, and you have to go back and stop manufacturing and selling these products. I'm not sure if you have heard that many companies, ranitidine, metformin, which are the recent valsartan, which are some of the material, which are the products which have been used for years together. Ranitidine, I'm sure that everybody has taken Zantac. Now, Zantac is not available. The antacid molecules have been identified to have some impurities. Now, they have been banned in many countries now, and this happened in the recent times. So these are the challenges that we have to face, and you have to be very alert about this. That's where your understanding of the product, analytical techniques, is very important. You should know which are the techniques which can give you a reliable and a consistent analysis to identify these impurities and make sure that they don't. The instruments that Dr. Pandit mentioned, LCMS, GCMS, a couple of years back, these instruments were R&D instruments. They were for exploration. They were for development. Now, these instruments are moving back to quality control, the laboratory where the manufacturing is done. So you can't just restrict them to only the R&D. Initially, conventionally, the instruments were like HPLC, GC, or IR. They were the conventional instruments in a QC lab. Now, they have been transformed into a LCMS, GCMS, XRD, NMR would also come in. So these are the techniques which are now coming in, because awareness is very much. We want to make sure that the medicines which are given to the patients are quality standards. They don't bring in any impurities, and we don't want the patients to build up some impurities or adverse effects on their bodies after a period of time. So these are the challenges that we face on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, sir. I'll also request Dr. Chandra Shekhar to address the same question.
Yeah. In the recent time of the coronavirus, what we're having, one of our products, which is a combination of vitamin C and zinc, is doing exceedingly well in all the markets what we are having. Then one time it happened that I think it was about 2 months ago that we started to get a series of market complaints that the tablet is getting blackened. And we were very surprised to get this complaint because, as I said, remember my talk where I said about the control samples. We checked the control samples and then things were not possible, that they were all okay. And then we had to really scratch our brains to understand what was the issue. Then we came out with the hypothesis that it could be the packing material where probably it could have some pinholes. So we increased the population of the checking, and then to our surprise, it was found that very, very minute pinholes, which was not detected, were seen in the packs, which made us to see that yes, better controls are needed. So we had to get into a sophisticated pinhole detector. We had one, but that was not adequate to pick such level pinhole detection. So what is important is that once you have any issues or once you have problems, one should never crumble under pressure. And students, you should know that all problems have a solution if you put your minds together and then come out with a solution. So we could detect it, and then we did the conventional way of doing the leak test, where we found out, yes, probably it was one among the probably 100 blister packs which had this pinholes. But then, unfortunately, it was only those one among 300 which was picked up as a market complaint. Then, even for that, we need to put the better controls, and then we ended up in putting those preventive actions, and then touch wood, we are doing good now. So that's it.
Thank you, sir. So we have one last question, Dr. Rajiv. So, the student is asking with respect to career guidance associated with post-graduation or the field of analytical chemistry. And also he's telling you in current times with respect to COVID situation, how do we go about the career guidance?
I don't think, no, I'm sure that everybody is a bit concerned about COVID as a situation. But this, for me, it's a passing phase now. It will bring in new types of, I think, checks and balances in your own area. I think it is not only for pharma, it's everybody. And you'll definitely come out with new opportunities, and new opportunities will come out. And I'm sure that, as we said, the pharma industry is, recession-free. It is definitely essential services. And in these times also, everybody is looking with a lot of hopes towards this industry to come out with good medicines, which can definitely make sure that the population and the citizens of individual countries are safeguarded. So a lot of opportunity in every field in this area, be it R&D, analytical development, quality control, manufacturing. Everybody has a good opportunity as long as you have that inclination, you have that ability to take up this as a challenge. I'm sure that there are times that you may have to wait for a certain period of time because all the news, all the social media that is going out, there's a lot of hype around it. But keep your patience, don't lose heart, and there's huge opportunity coming up. Every industry is now picking up from the times that they were down a couple of months back. But the economy is picking up, the industry is picking up. You should definitely take advantage of the time that you have at this during this period to learn as much as possible and learn to be resilient. I mean, that is something that you should be absolutely learning from this current situation. I'm sure that everybody has gone through it, your family members or your friends. There's a lot of discussions around that. There are so many people, succumbing to this, the COVID. So all that is really bringing all the, there's so much of negativity around the whole activities around. So if you can shield yourself and look forward to better opportunities in the near future, I think there are good times to come in.
Thank you, sir, for addressing the questions.
Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful session of a couple of hours. It is my privilege to give a vote of thanks to all the members of the national webinar. Thank you very much, and such event would have been possible without the help of our management, Chikitsak Samuha, which has always been and supportive in all respects and bringing up a new course, new innovative course, skill-based course, imparting students with practical knowledge. And we are very grateful that they have given us an opportunity to introduce such a course to the world. Of course, our resource persons, Dr. Chandra Shekhar and Dr. Desai, a lot of industry expertise behind them, and there, with combination with Dr. Pandit, with the academic and social experience, is a truly formidable combination. So, which has definitely benefited to all the students and teachers attending this webinar. Also, I like to thank our principal, Dr. Shrikant Sawant, our CEO, Dr. Mala Kharkar, for their active support and encouragement, as well as the members of all the organizing committee, my teacher and our HOD, Vice Principal, Dr. Aarti Sawant, Dr. Teresa Ma'am, Yomesh, and the course coordinator, Shailendra Darvi, who has been in active participation in organizing this event. Also, we are thankful to all the participants, without which the program wouldn't have been successful, for their active participations, their questions which they had already posted us while the registration. So we are already grateful to all of them. And last but not the least, I would like my sincere thanks to our student and my friend Viti Das for providing us the platform Zoom, and also our past student Mahesh Samant for providing this wonderful platform and helping us technologically and going live stream to the YouTube. Thank you very much, all of them. Enjoy the weekend and stay home, stay safe. Thank you, Rajiv sir. Thank you, Chandra Shekhar sir. Thank you, Pandit sir. And just note to all the participants, we have posted a feedback link on Zoom as well as our Telegram group, which we have already posted the link there. It will be active till tomorrow evening 5 p.m. and you will be getting your e-certificates within 3 days after the close of registration, close of feedback link. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.